Gilmore Girls, another big staple show in your career. I know that you were writing in the later seasons, right? Season 7, right?
Yeah.
So how was that going into, because that was after, obviously after Dawson's Creek, and so now you're
Yeah.
going on another show that's been long running, and it's a little different, although there is still that humor, a little bit of that, like, it's comical in some ways, right? But it definitely and there's a lot of words in that show too. So maybe there were some things you did, you could kind of latch on to. But how was that experience getting on that show?
I mean, that was crazy just because, like, yes, it was season 7. So just imagine there's 6 seasons of the show before we got there. And, really, I can remember just so desperately trying to like watch them all before I got there. And, I had sort of seen the show a little bit, but I wasn't a huge fan of the show, which I think was an interesting place to be in because I was just very objective about it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was kind of a crazy time because Amy Sherman Palladino had left. And so the show was going to go on without her. And we had a couple writers who'd worked on the show the previous, seasons. But it was really, really hard to come in. And, I always like to point out that like the end of season 6, our beloved main character, Lorelai, I believe, sleeps with Christopher. Even though she's engaged to Luke. So I always like to say to people, have your own writer's room, like get 6 people and some coffee and try to figure out what happens next, because it ain't easy, folks. Like that's a hard one to
Such
do.
A hard one.
Yeah. So it was hard, but I mean, honestly, like such a great show in terms of like, again, using the screwball comedy style to tell the story of Luke and Lorelai. And, it has a lot of flaws as a show, but like, honestly, to see this character, Rory, who, is ambitious and smart and loves to read. And, I love that. We need more of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard an interview with you about how you wanted to be a journalist. And so you could really, but you were kind of more introverted, and like Rory was somebody that you resonated with. So I'm sure that helped in writing her voice, right? And her story.
That was always, I did think that was strange that like it was sort of baked into the show that she had wanted to be a journalist. And I had like wanted to be a journalist. I was like a little high school journalist. I worked at a newspaper in my 20s, but like I was not great at talking to strangers when I was younger. I'm still not good at it. Like you're so sweet and nice and kind. But yeah, so I was not going to make it as a journalist. And Rory, I don't know what happened to Rory. I mean, I watched the reboot, but I'm not qualified to speak on Rory Gilmore at 32.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.